a victory over the last month.
Well, think about it. He's 0-5 in September. He certainly doesn't want to go 0-6. He's a very proud pitcher. He's not here to just get by. He's here to get a win. But think of the run support he's gotten from the Mets. They've scored 1 run 3 times, 2 runs 3 other times, and 3 runs twice. So he's not gotten any support. Hopefully he'll get some today against Wilton Perez. Wilton Perez starting only his 2nd game for the Houston Astros. The young man from Nicaragua is going to be pitching against this Mets team today. He struggled in his last start. 3 2/3 innings, 5 runs against the Phillies.
So it's Nelson Figueroa on the final day for the Mets against the rookie Wilton Lopez. The Mets and the Astros, with the Mets looking for their 70th win to close out the season. All the action on SNY. By IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Pella Windows, the Mets official window and door replacement company. Call 1-866-64-PELLA for special savings today. By the Rums of Puerto Rico, inviting you to enjoy the finest rums of the world. By Victorinox Swiss Army, makers of the original Swiss Army knife. And by Pepsi. Log on to sny.tv/Pepsi Clutch to vote for the Mets 2009 Clutch Performer. Visit the official online shop of the Mets at Mets.com. Browse the largest online selection of authentic team gear, including official caps, t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the Mets.com shop. Some of the closing day crowd. Last chance to sample the wares here at Citi Field before the ballpark closes, not to reopen until April the 5th when the Mets open at home next year against the Florida Marlins. And closing day has become something of a special day, even in down years. Everybody wants to be a part of the last day in the ballpark before winter ensues. Baseball in Queens, first pitch coming right up. than 6 months ago that Citi Field opened for regular season business, with Tom Seaver throwing the first pitch to Mike Piazza as he threw the last pitch at Shea Stadium last September. All was optimism that day for the Mets. My, how 6 months can change things. And now the Mets close the 2009 season. Here's the starting lineup for the Houston Astros, brought to you by Smirnoff. Miguel Tejada comes into the final day with a 20-game hitting streak, needing 2 hits for 200. Ryan Braun, the only National Leaguer to clear 200 hits so far this season. And Aaron Boone in the lineup for the Astros for just the second time since coming back from open heart surgery back during spring training. Quite a return for Mr. Boone.
Well, Nelson Figueroa, who has had a tough September as far as record-wise, but he has pitched awfully well. It's hard to pitch well and be 0-5, but he has, folks, out there. His many travels. He's traded with Gilkey, Bernard Gilkey, traded for Kurt Schilling, played for the Chihuahua Dorados, played in Taiwan, and it's brought him all here to his 10th start in 2009.
I thought Chihuahua was a dog. And the Lexus Mets defense. Excuse me. Oh, how about Murph? Who would have thought that, huh? 154 leads the team in starts. You go, Murph. Started out in left field, if you recall, and went to first base and adapted himself, I think, quite well over there, considering he's not played much over there in that position. And I can tell you from first-hand experience, it's not easy over there. And the Pagan and Reed get to start in the corner outfield positions.
Poor Jeremy Reed, he's been looking for that start all season long, hasn't he?
But Jeff Francoeur taking the final day off. Reed making just his 24th start of the season, and he's been here and healthy the entire year. There are 2 games still of great import in the major leagues on this final day. In Detroit and in Minnesota, the fading Tigers taking on the White Sox. No score there in the bottom of the first. And the Twins playing Kansas City. They'll start in about an hour, with the Twins and Tigers dead even now for the American League Central lead going into the final day. If they finish the day tied, they'll play a 1-game playoff Tuesday at the Metrodome. Wow. How about Carl Pavano on 3 days rest, the final day of the season, pitching for Minnesota?
Pitching again for Minnesota to get them into the playoffs against the Yankees.
Michael Bourne, first pitch of the game, hits one back up the middle for a base hit, and we are underway on the final day of 2009. 3rd hit of the series for Bourne. And so an immediate base runner against Figueroa. And the tradition in games like this is you see a lot of first pitch swinging.
And a lot of ground balls.
Why do you ask? People want to get out of Dodge, fans.
They want to get home. It's been a long year. I'm dying to get home.
Miguel Tejada takes a strike.
You've been home all year. What are you talking about? Oh, the other home.
I'm sure Bill Webb is.
We're just glad that you got here today without incident.
Yes. Bill Webb can retire to his island for...
Well, he's got to work for another month.
He doesn't have. He has to work. But he doesn't have the first 2 rounds, right?
You make it sound like he's at Necker Island in the Caribbean. It is still Jersey.
Bill Webb, our director, folks, just in case you don't know. See, I tell you, ground balls. Why? Oh, but not hard enough.
We get the out at first on Tejada as Bourne moves up to second. Why would there be more ground balls today, Pete?
Double plays with men on base. It speeds the game along.
Oh, you're saying, but
that's his hope.
But people are trying to hit it in double play.
No, I'm only teasing. I can guarantee you, there's not anybody up here that is going to make an easy out. I mean, particularly someone like Tejada, who needs 2 hits for 200. He's going to be trying.
Angel Pagan. Gary, you were talking about it before.
Angel, if he goes 2 for 4, will hit 300. If he goes 2 for 5, he won't.
Wow.
So you got to get him out of there after 2 for 4.
I will say this: of the 2 teams that are playing, they're both out of it. The team that gets up early, the other team may just lay down and die. So.
Lance Berkman 3 for 7 in this series. He's had an off year by Berkman standards, although he has finished strong. 25 homers, 80 runs batted in.
I'm not doing such a great job of selling this game so far. Wow.
Is that Minnesota game on TV? No.
Down to first base where Murphy grabs it. And that's the second out, and Bourne moves over to third.
That's right. They would have it on.
I know
MLB.
MLB's got the Detroit game. I know that against the White Sox.
By the way, speaking of MLB Network, I was watching last night the Dodgers game as the Dodgers clinched the West by finally beating the Rockies, so everything in the National League is now set.
Yeah.
Clayton Kershaw, you were talking yesterday about the Dodgers needing a #1. He pitched like a #1 last night.
Unhittable. 10 strikeouts in his work against the hard-charging Rocks.
Oh, he's young, and the future is in front of him. But he got his record to 9-8, correct?
He didn't get the win because they didn't score till the 7th. He only went the first 6, but he was dominant. Here's Carlos Lee with a runner at third. So the Dodgers will be hosting the Cardinals in the first round now, and the Phillies will be hosting the Rockies. Lee trying to keep his average over 300. He's at 302.
The Rockies took a hit, though, 3 shutout innings, and then Jorge De La Rosa went down with a slight groin injury, and you know, he's been their second best pitcher behind Jimenez the entire season.
That hurts.
Well, it means that Aaron Cook, who pitched very well the night before for the Rockies, is going to have to be that good in the postseason.
And Marquis, who's had a tough September pitching today, if he pitches a little better, you know, at least he's a veteran going into the postseason.
Now, you think that Jim Tracy would be able to go with 3 starters, or would he have to start a Jason Hamill in a 4th game if need be?
Well, the thing is that Ubaldo Jimenez, even though he's so young, he's gotten stronger as the season's gone on. So he might be a guy you could use on 3 days rest. You don't want to because he's so young.
So he could go 1 and 4, but could Cook or Marquis go 2 and 5?
I think Marquis can go 2 and 5 as long as he, you know, going in, you're going to get about 15 to 18 outs max from him.
3-2 to Lee. Punch toward the middle, and there's Anderson Hernandez to pick it off and end the inning. So a base hit and 1 left. Mets come up in the bottom of the first with no score. It might be the first time out. You never know what might happen the last day of the year. Mike Whitmer once pitched a perfect game the last day of the season. Here's your Mets starting lineup, brought to you by Geico. David Wright and Carlos Beltran in for the final day. Jeff Francoeur out. Wilton Lopez with his first pitch, and Angel Pagan takes a strike.
Well, that was a real blockhead. I want to apologize to the Lopez family. I said Wilton Perez. I don't know why. Wilton Lopez was pitched. This is his second start for the Houston Astros. I said from Leon, Nicaragua, which is the intellectual center of Nicaragua. Keith, they founded the university there in 1813. And one Hernandez, Fernando Hernandez de Cordoba, founded Lyon in 1524.
Did you call yourself a blockhead?
Yeah, I mean, how could you say someone's wrong name?
Well, because you were thinking of education and educated places and people, and you were thinking of Fernando Perez from Colombia.
There you go.
0-2 to Pagan, and he lifts one to center field, where Michael Bourne misjudges it, and then it drops in for a hit.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if he lost it, or he didn't see it, or he just didn't figure it out, but Pagan has himself a lucky hit, which is exactly what Angel needs in his quest to 300.
Absolutely. Oh, he just got a little cobwebs, possibly.
Maybe he was already in the car on the way home. By the way, Pagan with that hit is now hitting an even 300. Would you take him out of the game?
I would. No.
Yes, why not?
That's well his call. By the way, let's do the Ford defense.
If I were Jerry Manuel, I'd take him out of the game.
He's had a great offensive season. Go. Okay, well, just go to Ford.
We don't have to. Just take it off the board.
Castillo takes ball one. Louis 0 for his last 13, but he's safe as far as his 300 average is concerned. Even if he went 0 for 5 today, he would still stay over 300 in what is the end of a really terrific season with a couple of bumps along the way for Castillo. And Louis drops it down. Quintero with the toss, and the sacrifice successful. 2-3, moving Pagan to second. That is the 19th sacrifice bunt for Castillo this year. Only Javier Vasquez of the Braves has had more. So now David Wright. David coming off a good game Friday night. He went 3 for 4, sat out yesterday. But playing the final day of the season. And how about the choice of sock wear for Mr. Wright today?
He's got stirrups, so a la number 17, Hernandez.
Can we show those stirrups and tell the folks, and that's how nice looking they look? I think they're nice. I mean, I would like the stirrups a little higher.
Still, it's nice looking.
Those are the ankle chokers. I mean, that was 1910.
He needs to straighten them out a little bit. He needs to get those sanitary socks pulled up a little bit. Tejada throws out right. I think that's an experience right there.
Well, that's you need to work on that.
I used to get the socks. I used to cut them along the seams. The seams are right under your sole, where the two stirrups come together underneath. I'd cut them, and I'd get an elastic band. And I'd take it to, I couldn't sew it. I'd go to dry cleaners and have them sew it on just to get a little lift on those stirrups. So they wouldn't be
how do you keep the sanitary socks, the white socks underneath, from drooping?
Tape. You tape up above your calf. And elementary, Gare. You're a bright guy.
Well,
Figure it out.
Just saying, I mean, because Wrights were drooping. Matsui tosses out Beltran to end the inning. Oh! That's like in the old days.
Jeez.
I remember that hair. Tigers, who have been run-starved over the last 3 games, have a run on the board.
How strange, right? John Danks last year in a playoff game against the Twins that the Chicago White Sox won 1-0. He had 8 shutout innings. Twins rooting for Danks today.
Hunter Pence leads off the second and takes a strike from Nelson Figueroa. Pence 1 for 7 in this series, coming off a year in which he was an all-star for the Astros. And fouls one right off Josh Tolley's mask, 0-2.
Look at Tolley with that. Looks like, oh, Mickey Cochran behind there catching.
Pretty good player, Mickey Cochran.
And then from Cochran to cockeyed mask.
That's right.
So a cockeyed optimist.
And the curveball from Figueroa misses 1-2. It'll be Pence, then Aaron Boone and Kaz Matsui here in the second. And boy, what a great story that Aaron Boone is in uniform and playing for the Astros.
Fantastic.
Slow curve fouled off. It was on March the 26th that Aaron Boone had open heart surgery. And most people felt as though his major league career was over. But at age 36, he was able to rehab and was activated when the rosters expanded in September. And this is now his second start with Houston since returning.
Guys, you see how Tolley is standing up for the high fastball? He's got to do that later. He's doing it too early. If you do it too early, guy in the on deck circle will give you a little whistle. You know the fastball's coming.
Curveball struck him out. Big curve. Well, Figueroa dialing back as his first strikeout.
Well, we know Nelson has a good yellowhammer.
That is his best pitch.
Folks, that's baseball speak for a curveball. Yellowhammer, curve.
So here is Boone, and the only thing that is lacking about his comeback is a hit. He's gone 0 for 10 since coming back. He made 1 start back on the 2nd of September against the Cubs. He's pinch hit since then, and getting a chance to play here on the final day of the season, trying to get a hit on the board in 2009.
Yeah, he's had 7 at-bats out of those 10 as a pinch hitter.
And all you Yankee fans that are watching out there, the multitude of Yankee fans, you will remember Aaron, the big game-winning home run off the knuckleballer from the Red Sox in the playoffs.
2003.
What a blow that was.
One and 2 to Boone.
Did we make predictions in the playoffs in the National League yet, guys?
Go right ahead.
I'm going to get off the Philly bandwagon because I'm worried about, Lidge. I'm going to say the Cardinals are going to take it. Ronnie, I think you originally said the Cardinals.
Yes. Well, the Cardinals have, they have a 1-2, and the only problem I see with the Cardinals, to tell you the truth, is a little bit of the outfield defense of Holiday is a little compromising, and then their bullpen has been up and down. Franklin's was great for 3/4 of the season, but struggled coming down the stretch.
Gary, curveball popped up, and Tolley going out, right coming down to help, and that's the second out. Well, it's interesting because over the last few days, I've convinced myself that the Rockies were the team to beat. But if they lose De La Rosa, that changes the equation. And I'd have to go with Ronnie and say the Cardinals because of that 1-2 punch of Carpenter and Wainwright.
So you go with Ronnie and Keith.
Yeah,
don't leave me out.
Did you say the Cardinals?
Yes,
too?
I changed because of Lidge. I changed. I said Philly earlier.
Okay, so we're all unanimous?
Yes.
That's the first time ever.
That's true.
Now you know what that means. It means the Cardinals have no chance.
That's right.
Matsui takes ball 1. How about in the American League? Now, Ronnie, you can lay out of the Yankee-Detroit-Minnesota series since you're going to be working it. But what about Boston and the Angels? The Red Sox have dominated the Angels in recent years.
The Boston has the best bullpen in the game of the teams that are going in. Papelbon, of course, at the end. The addition, of course, of Wagner, Bard, Manny Del Carmen, great hard throwers. That it really only depends on Beckett and Lester. If Beckett and Lester are healthy, Beckett just took a cortisone shot, pitched in yesterday's game, gave 4 runs on 6 innings. And Lester are healthy, that's the 1-2 punch that the Cardinals have. Because Boston has not hit the same as they have in the past. Ortiz game was down a little, although he rebounded from the first half.
Matsui toward the left field line, a long run for Pagan, and he gets there. Boy, his speed in left field has just been an eye-opener over these last few weeks since Beltran has come back. Well, Pagan makes that look easy. A 1-2-3 inning for Figueroa. Still no score. Weekdays at 5 o'clock, Jonas Schwartz and Joe Beningo get fired up about all the New York sports drama, and tomorrow get an exclusive insider look at tonight's Jets-Saints game from new weekly contributor, Jets offensive tackle Damian Woody on Daily News Live, presented by Citi, weekdays at 5, only on SNY. Daniel Murphy's season is finishing well.
He needs a 4-for-4 to get to 270. Usually at this point of the season, with all the multitude of at-bats you've accrued, every hit you get is you raise your average a point, but the backside is you got to go 4-for-4 to raise it 4 points. 3-for-4 is not going to cut it.
Well, 54 extra base hits leads the Mets.
Yeah, with 3-for-4, he would be technically at 270, 2696.
Oh, we get the old little roundup. Frankie Lane.
Oh, this is.
Don't pay attention. Rawhide.
This is just my opinion, Gary, but I think if you're the starting second baseman in the 80s for the Mets, you would know exactly what you're hitting day to day, or at least on the final day.
Why is that?
Well, because you have all the stats there. You're ready to go with all these guys that what you would need to get to a certain level.
Bob just got the calculator sitting. I mean, because Keith went 4-for-4, and I said, well, I wonder if 3-for-4 would cut it, so I just calculated it would be 2696.
If you had going into the last game there. Hey, Tony, how are you? Going into the last game, you would know, as a friend of ours down there, folks, that waved to us. You would know if you need 2-3 hits to get to 300 or 290. You would know.
There's Tony Guida.
Tony Guida. There's Tony. What's up, big guy? Tony is a huge Met fan, huge baseball fan. He's here all the time.
You know, in 1986, the last game of the season against the Pirates, warming up for the playoffs, I pitched the first 5. Sid pitched the last 4 because he needed a certain amount of strikeouts to get to 200, and he got to 200 right on the nose.
Wow.
So that's why Davey used him those innings.
200 strikeouts, and he couldn't make the rotation for the playoffs.
God. Well, you know what? He served us well in the bullpen in a couple of games, especially in the World Series.
Those Hawaiian pitchers can do it.
They do well in Flushing, Hawaiian.
Pitchers from Hawaii, number 4 and 5 on the Mets all-time win list.
Yep. Akbayani did pretty well here, didn't he?
Yes, he did. I like Benny. Benny was one of those guys that got the most out of his abilities.
He's a character, wasn't he?
It wasn't a great outfield that Bobby Valentine team that got to the World Series.
3-2. And Murphy goes to left center, and over goes Carlos Lee to grab it, one away. So what's next? Puerto Rico, Guam.
Well, yeah, exactly. We're done. I guess we're done.
American Samoa.
Well, no, we're feeling bad about the people from the
there. Yeah.
So you've already nailed the. Well, you got Hawaii with Sydney.
The last 50 games of the season. We were in Arizona sometime in August, and things were not looking up for the New York Nine at that time. And we figured there was something we needed to do to, help pass the time the last 50 games of the season. So I said, well, it's 50 games to go. There are 50 states in the union. We're going to go in order of the date that the states were entered into the union.
Yes.
It's the date of their statehood, and we're going to mention one state each day. And we just got Hawaii in for the 50th state, and we're done.
And we're done, and I think my favorite was your late call when you had forgotten the state of Arkansas. That was my favorite of all of them.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Tell the story. It's great.
Well, Frankie Rodriguez was pitching and going for a save, and there were 2 out in the ninth, and I suddenly realized we hadn't gotten the state in. It was Arkansas, and I thought we were going to miss it, and that would be the day we wouldn't get the state in. But Frankie.
It was a foul ball back.
Frankie actually walked a guy to prolong the game, and we got the 2 strikes again. And I said something along the lines of, Frankie had 62 saves last year, not as many this year. But even Frankie, with 31 saves, kind of like Bruce Springsteen singing Mary Queen of Arkansas, it's still pretty good.
That was my favorite.
You're so clever.
Talk about pulling it out of thin air. 1-2 to Reed. And Jeremy takes off the plate. What a strange year for Jeremy Reed. Made the team out of spring training. He's been with the team all year. He's been healthy all year, but has never really gotten much of a chance despite all the injuries the Mets have sustained this season.
Well, what really threw his role topsy-turvy was the immediate signing of Sheffield. So when Sheffield came in, he went to the bottom rung as far as who was going to play and not play. And in fact, he couldn't ever start, because if Sheffield started in left field, he needed to be the defensive caddy for Sheffield in the late innings.
No, he never complained all year either. He was silent as a church mouse.
He did a great job as a pinch hitter.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's just timing, because he got one stretch where he got to play for 3 or 4 days, didn't hit, and then Corey Sullivan came up, and all of a sudden Sullivan became the starter for 2 or 3 weeks.
He was asked. He wasn't asked a lot to do for this team, but every time he was asked, he did well.
3-2 from Lopez is fouled off.
Well, ultimately, the powers to be are the general manager and the manager make the decisions on who's going to play, who they like better. And if you're a player aspiring, let's just say the perfect example right here, Jeremy Reed. If you're aspiring to play every day, you got to say, I got to get out of here. I got to go somewhere else.
Well, my feeling, he's going to fill in one of his offensive categories today. That's my prediction.
Well, he hasn't had a home run or a stolen base. So you're saying one of those is fallen.
I'm going to go with a home run. Go on.
Forward. Well, he's on base. Got a chance to steal one.
There we go. Do it all in one game.
Josh Tolley, the batter. Josh snapped out of a slump yesterday. Went 2 for 3, including his first major league triple, and it was a record setter. The Mets' 48th triple of the year, a new club record. Ryan Rayburn has just hit a 2-run homer for the Tigers off John Danks, and Detroit leads Chicago 3-0 in the second. And if you're the Minnesota Twins, you're sitting in the clubhouse waiting to go out and play. They got about 25 minutes before their game begins, and now they see the Tigers out to a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, it's hard, especially with their ace Verlander pitching today, although he did throw 129 pitches in 8 innings against the Twins in his last start, but he's going on regular day's rest.
I guess if you're going down to the last day and you're tied like that, I guess you'd rather be the team to start first, right?
Yes, because you want to put a number on the board, put the pressure on.
Tolley drives one to center field, chasing Bourne back, and he gets there to make the catch. Well, Tolley's hit the ball with a little more thump over the last couple of days.
He's going to have to do that to keep the defense honest.
There's the swing here, put on this pitch. Right down the pipe, just sunk away enough to get towards the end of the bat.
totally on top of the plate. And you notice yesterday that the outfielder, well, actually today, the Houston outfielders are playing a little bit deeper than they did yesterday. They got burned on 3 balls hit over their head. 4 balls, actually. 2 with Carlos Lee and 2 with Michael Bourne.
Anderson Hernandez takes ball 1.
Still playing kind of shallow, but a little bit deeper in the corners.
The history is on Detroit's side. No team in Major League Baseball history has had a 3-game lead with 4 games to go and has coughed it up. Not one.
They had a 7-game lead in early September, much as the Mets did 2 years ago when they let it get away. And the Tigers have been in first place either by themselves or sharing it since May the 10th. And no team that's been in first place from that point on has ever lost the lead in the final week of the season. So that history is on their side as well. But you have to think there's every chance there's going to be a game on Tuesday.
I would be inclined to agree with you, Gary.
I've got my reservations tomorrow for Minnesota. I'll be doing that. I'll be doing that game.
That's great. Anderson Hernandez hits it sharply right to Matsui, and that ends the inning. 2 in the books on the final day at Citi Field. Mets and Astros, no score. And take to the field at the Mets Fantasy Camp this January in Port St. Lucie. Get to the phone at 718-565-4376 or visit Mets.com/fantasycamp today. Humberto Quintero leads off for the Astros in the 3rd. Quintero making his 51st start. He was the backup most of the year to Pudge Rodriguez before Pudge was sent back home to Arlington.
Did he misbehave?
No, he was happy to go.
Well, they were trying to add a piece because Saltalamacchia, their first catcher, got hurt his arm. I think labrum, I believe.
Wow.
And had to have surgery, so they're just trying to find maybe lightning in a bottle with Pudge over the last month. That Texas team kind of wore down as they do, as they have a history of doing.
Yep. Do you think the weather has something to do with that there?
Oh, it's just so bad there in the summer. I mean, it is at the point where a lot of the teams, Ron Washington, the manager, was having no batting practice. That's how bad it gets over the middle of the summer.
Off the end of the bat, squirreling out to Hernandez, 1 away.
I think affects that team as much as maybe the lights affected the Cubbies team in the day.
Here's your AT&T high-speed pitch. Nelson Figueroa topping out at 90. Wilton Lopez at 93. Well, you know, you think about it. The Rangers and the Astros play in similar climates down in Texas. The Astros have always played indoors, and they've had a history of having great second halves. Right. Whereas the Rangers have had history of having fadeaways late in seasons. That's a strike to Lopez. We were talking about predictions before. We never really finished talking about the American League.
Well, we got two teams. Nice play by Anderson.
And he throws out Lopez for the second out. Lopez got down the line nicely. Looked like an athlete.
That ball kind of swirled out there too a little bit, Garrett. Nicely done. I don't like either Detroit or Minnesota to go for. I've got to put my chips with the Yankees. A lot of my chips with the Yankees.
Yeah, you think the problem is it's a very strange thing is that the Angels really own the Yankees, but the Angels can never get past Boston. So if you envision that, you look at it looks like it's going to be a Yankee-Boston.
Well, I'll add a caveat to that. I think this may be a very special year for the Angels, and I say that because of the emotion involved, because of the death of Nick Adenhart. There has been a special quality to the Angels all season, and I think it might well get them over the top in the end. In there for a call, strike three. Bourne down looking, and Figueroa's retired 9 in a row. No score. This year, let's take a look at the view from the Pepsi porch with Kevin Burkhardt.
Talked to John Maine today, trying to get a gauge of his offseason plans. He was in rare form. He says he's training in Siberia this year. Which about fits John's personality, and we had some fun with that. But, you know, he really was in good spirits, and I can't stress enough how important it was for him to come back and pitch, because I was talking to him about that. And you know, he said, yes, it was important for me to pitch and feel good about it. And I just think this last month has been so big for him. As far as his offseason, he takes 2 weeks off and totally just takes a break. No work, no nothing, just rest. And then what he does, what he's added this year will be a little different. He's starting to do physical therapy. That's what he started to do down at Port St. Lucie. And he does all kinds of things with the shoulder, with his core, different things, not only to strengthen his arm, but to strengthen other parts of his body as well. And he really likes it. He likes it. He feels like it stretched out his arm and gotten his arm loose to pitch in the games. He said the other difference that he'll make this year, the other change, normally he starts throwing a baseball beginning of December. He thinks he's going to push that back to second or third week into December now, just to give that arm a little bit extra rest. But certainly, guys, this last month, very big for John Maine going forward. Back to you.
Well, there's no question that John can be a very successful pitcher. We've seen it. The question is whether he can stay healthy for a full season. By the way, Angel Pagan will stay in despite getting his average to 300 with that first inning hit.
Commendable, commendable.
Like Ted Williams. Strike three called. Figueroa down looking. First strikeout for Wilton Lopez.
The only way to be successful as a starting pitcher early in your career is you've got to be able to maintain a pace of starting 32 or 33 times a year for 4, 5, 6, 7 years in a row. That's how you start a career. Those are supposed to be your strongest years. That's when you supposed to be at your optimum physical strength. And that'll be the key for John, because if he starts 32 or 33 times, he'll have a good year. His stuff is too good. What's the thing, Keith? You can't make the club in the tub. You gotta.
Oh, Gene Tennis. Yep, Gene Tennis dropped that one on me one time. And a sprained ankle and sprained. He walked by and said, "Can't make the club while sitting in the tub."
Pagan rips one to right field. Hunter Pence getting over. Can't get it. It's off his glove and rolling to the fence. And Pagan flying around second. He'll go to third and stand with presumably a triple. Now Pence, after a long one, got there and got his glove on it, and we'll wait to see how they score.
Oh, that's got to be a trip.
Got to be a triple. Amazing effort by Pence just to get there.
And it is a triple, which means that Pagan's average is now over 300.
I think that will secure it for him. He goes 2 for 4. He's got it. We'll watch him turn it on. Boy, I wish I could have run like that. They never would have caught me.
His 11th triple of the year, just 2 shy of the league lead.
He's had a nice season with the bat. There's no question.
Infield comes in for Luis Castillo, who lifts one to left. Pagan tagging. Lee coming on to grab it. Momentum heading home, but the throw is offline, and Pagan scores to give the Mets a 1-0 lead. So Castillo gets the run in with his 40th run batted in.
Well, again, I mentioned that they're playing a little bit deeper outfield position in this game. They got burned yesterday four times in the outfield by playing shallow, and I think that Pence was playing a little bit deeper. He might have been able to cut that ball off and prevented Pagan from getting a triple, only a double.
That was interesting, the embrace by Pagan and Castillo. Castillo, who is not the king of the sacrifice fly, by the way.
And there's going to be an appeal now.
No.
Astros are going to contend that Pagan left early.
They're going to lose.
And they do.
Because I watched.
Deal with the third base umpire with the call.
I watched from up here. He was fine.
Did you always watch when you played?
Yes, I always watched. Always watched. You can see right here. He's perfect. I always watched the runner on a base hit going for 2. I always watched and made sure he touched first base. That's part of the program.
Pretty funny. There's things I do up here. I don't say them out loud like I used to. But if there's a pop-up, I always call who I would expect to catch it. Or if there's a ground ball to the side, I always say get over in my head. I don't say it on the air, thank God.
You could. You just push your talk back. You can go right ahead and do that.
Keith sometimes says things that he's not quite sure he should be saying.
Oh, look at that.
How about this?
Most hits this decade. David Wright, the king of the aughts, as far as the Mets are concerned. But 0 for 2 in this game as Matsui throws him out. The Mets score first. Triple by Pagan. Sac fly by Castillo. French fries from Box Frites. Now that's a treat. 1-0. is Maureen Williamson, who this year took over command of the press dining room and was extraordinary. I mean, absolutely Rookie of the Year and contending for MVP in her first year at the helm.
She changed the entire dynamics of inside that cafeteria or the dining room, because that always sometimes would become a place where you didn't always want to go, and now you love going in there. The food was unbelievable all season long, and she has a smile on her face every single day. Just a great lady. I will say though, we did something nice, us in the booth. We got Mr. Seaver is going to send her a case of wine.
How about that?
And that's from us in the booth and the radio guys.
It's only fair that we give kudos to the whole staff back there in the press eats room, which is right behind our booth.
It's very convenient.
And Charles back there, who's the senior. Charles Davis, a great job as always. Anthony Lucas, Maureen, of course. Ariane Familia, she's wonderful and quite beautiful. Anthony Stimmel, Michael Elvin, and there's a double right down the line.
Ball sticks right at the base of the stands, and Murphy has to go out and play it, and that's hit number 199 for Miguel Tejada. His 46th double of the year, and that leads the league.
So he's one away. He's gotten one hit in each of the 3 games now. And that brings up Mr. Lance Berkman. And I'll just go real quickly with the rest of the group here. Julio Rodriguez, Luis Geronimo, Mary Masonette, Alberto Cortez, no relation to Hernando, Angela Montalban, no relation, and John Cannon, and of course, our good friend, Bill the Baker. Did I leave out Anthony Stimmel?
Yes, you did.
Okay, Anthony, sorry. Those guys are all terrific. They serve us all year, the press. And the food was a major upgrade. The chefs back there were phenomenal.
We're a little surly day game after a night game, and they always take our gruff and give us a smile.
And big Anthony makes that mean omelet.
You just got to order it about 10:30.
The little things that make our lives easier.
It's so true.
1-1 to Lance Berkman, who grounded out his first time up. Well, you know, an organization reflects its leader, and that group under Maureen is just stupendous.
Well, Charles is second in command, our senior down there too. Charles has been there a long time.
Well, he'll let you know.
You got to keep him in line, though. Charles can get a little rowdy.
He gets a little bossy.
Little tapper to the right side. Figueroa will take it himself. Tejada over to third on the advancing ground out by Berkman, one away.
Charles in that cafeteria is kind of like you in this booth. A little bit of a wild card, so we have to watch him, Charles. Good guy, though.
Here's Carlos Lee with the tying run at third and 1 out. They've gone to the 4th inning in Detroit. Tigers 3, White Sox nothing. Twins and Royals still about 15 minutes away from starting.
And I begin my diet tomorrow. My quest to drop 25 pounds.
25.
Wow, that's ambitious.
By Thanksgiving too.
How do you plan to accomplish this?
Eat properly and don't drink. That's the key. You can't drink alcoholic beverages. If you drink, you lose.
Any change in your workout regimen?
No, I'll do the same thing. I'll ride the bike for an hour. Hopefully I won't get the DTs.
Flag is short, and Hernandez has it for the second out. Well, you let us know. If you start to shake, give Ronnie and me a call. We'll come over and help you out. Wow.
Get you some cough syrup or something.
Here's Hunter Pence, who struck out his first time up. With Tejada at third and 2 out. And Pence a wild swing, nothing at 1.
On these last games, it's almost like every hitter comes up and swings, and hoping it's a fastball first pitch.
And don't you think Figueroa knows that?
Yes, of course he does.
Well, this game is very, very important to Nelson. He went 0-5 in the month of September through virtually no fault of his own. He had one bad game. but he has allowed 2 runs or less in 5 of his last 7 starts and has virtually nothing to show for us. He badly wants that victory. 2-1 to Pence, and the breaking ball fouled off.
The big Shea, we always were able to see Nelson's family. I wonder if they sit here for his starts, to try to help them out.
Well, remember when he first came up and made that first start against the Brewers, it was in Billy Wagner's suite.
Very nice.
That the Figueroa family was able to encamp.
What was your suite when you played, Chief?
Swing and a miss, and Figueroa gets Pence to end the inning. So Nelson able to work around a leadoff double and keep it 1-0 New York. Card, club cap, sling bag, commemorative banner flag, and much more. Sign up today at Mets.com. Sun is shining on Carlos Beltran as he takes ball 1. Mets batting in the bottom of the 4th and leading 1-0 on the final day of the season. Beltran grounded out to second base his first time up.
Beautiful. The sun. Love it.
The sun's been shining on the New York Giants so far this year. It's been easy for them. They lead the Chiefs 14-3 halfway through the second quarter today.
They have a few lambs. They'll be at 5-0 in a heartbeat.
They will they have an off week next week, I believe. The Jets got the tough one today.
It'll be fun to watch.
Yes, it will.
Jets and the Saints. Line over, Gorman into left field, a base hit for Beltran. So Carlos, in an injury-shortened year, has 100 hits. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Acela Express, where you can plug in and work or sit back and relax. Book now at Amtrak.com. For Carlos Beltran, it's a season of what might have been. You know, you go all the way back to spring training and remember how great he looked and how wonderful he played in April.
Yeah.
And you look at his numbers. He came into the day hitting .326. He's got 100 hits despite missing half the season. There's Murphy who takes ball 1. What kind of year could it have been for Carlos had he not suffered that terrible bruise to his knee?
Well, the one thing was he was hitting line drives and he was using the whole field. Really was hitting the left center a lot, taking advantage of the big spacious ballpark here at City.
You know, he'd always been about a 280 hitter, and he looked like he was going to be 40 to 50 points above that.
Well, one of the many shoulda, woulda, coulda, yeah, for the Mets this year, you know.
Well, I think if you could have had Beltran all year, I think what you could have done, if you could have gotten a little better starting pitching, and that would have been the key. The starting pitcher would have been the same. It wouldn't matter if Beltran was here all season long. But if you'd gotten a little better starting pitching, that goes hand in hand now. When Beltran's in center field, he makes a lot of catches that other center fielders don't make. Then maybe you would have had a Met team that could have stayed in it until they got some people back. But they never got Reyes back and never got their first baseman Delgado back. So, you know, this was just one of those years.
And I think your point about the pitching is well taken. As Murphy rips one toward the right field corner, and that hits off the wall. Beltran for third as Pence plays the carom well. Murphy to second, the slide, and he's out. Wow, what a great play by Hunter Pence, taking that ball off the wall and gunning down Murphy at second base.
Wow, I would have thought he would have had no chance. This ball's off the base of the wall. I got to take a look at Murph around the bases here.
He was flying. Just Pence is just too good.
What
accurate throw.
What a throw. Let's see. He's busting. Murph takes that full swing, you know, and he's slow getting out of the box. And you don't want him to change anything. You know, take that full swing. But what a play by Pence.
For Hunter Pence, his league-leading 16th outfield assist.
Let's see. Yeah, well.
Ball beat him, but he may not have tagged him.
He did not tag him.
Well, Adrian Johnson called out Murphy. Infield in, and Jeremy Reed takes a strike, 1-1.
And the key there was Pence, who only his third game here at Citi Field played that carom perfect off the wall.
Reed takes off the plate, 2-1.
Well, if you're a left-hand hitter, just looking at Lopez through the first, 3 1/3, yeah, I can tell after the first 2 innings, he lives on that outside corner. You got that fastball that runs away. Just doesn't throw in hardly at all to lefties. Just sit on that outside corner and drive it the opposite field.
One thing he does have, Chief, he seems to have pretty good late movement on that ball away.
You can crowd the plate then.
Yep. Make that outside corner the middle of the plate, right?
Just move in. If you want to be sneaky about it, you can move in 3 inches closer to the plate, and no one will know. That gives you 3 more inches of the barrel of the bat in the outside corner.
Two from Lopez, and it's both foul.
This looks like a lot of the Mets are just getting the end of the bat on that late movement, Ronnie.
Yep.
No, you just got to make it. There's 2 options: either the sneaky way I just said, moving 3 inches, or get right on top of the plate and make it obvious and look in. And that's a classic sneak attack.
Beltran at third and 1 out. And Reed stays alive.
I think not the problem, but I think the way that hitters are coached and instructed today, Keith, is that they really have one place they stand in the box, and they're not going to move around. I know that one of the tricks you can do when you're sacrifice bunting, instead of standing in the back of the box, move up to the front of the box. There's no way of putting the ball foul that way.
There's a couple fastballs in. You see the catcher nodding. Quintero, and they knew that he has to throw inside. What's with the hair today?
It's like a rusty wig day.
That was funny.
It's like Leslie West.
Eighth pitch of the at-bat upcoming to Reed. And he takes ball 3. So Jeremy, who walked his first time up, is taking full advantage of his rare start today. 26-year-old Wilton Lopez, only his second big league start. Astros got him on waivers from the Padres back in April. And Reed pulls one, just foul.
Lopez for coming in here with a big high ERA, Ronnie. He hasn't got bad stuff.
Oh, he does have good stuff. This guy that's knocked around. Let's start with the Yankees and Padres.
He's got one of those rubber arms.
Yeah.
10th pitch of the at-bat to Reed. And he walked him. Another quality turn at bat for Jeremy Reed. Second time he's walked today.
I like Dave Clark there, the manager. He's like, where's that pitch? Well, you know what he's asking? He's asking to catch a Quintero. Where's that pitch? And if he gets the answer, that ball's a strike. And let's see it as it finishes up in the glove of Quintero. It could have been called a strike, but I thought it was in. And call by the home plate umpire. But the manager will look to the catcher. If the catcher gives him that was a strike, then that's when the manager will start hooting on the umpire.
Here's Josh Tolley with first and third and one out. Now the infield drops back to double play depth. Tolley flied out to center his first time up. And takes that one off the plate for ball one.
Well, there you see the defense. Wow, they're pretty covered in the corners out there and right in center field. Shading a slight pull in center. Big gaps for Mr. Tolley.
They're too deep, but I'm sure there isn't a book out or a complete book out on Mr. Tolley yet.
I don't think Josh thought that was a strike.
Nothing to say though.
When you're a rookie, you don't. No. You don't
back in the box.
That is a negative. Don't do that. You take your medicine.
One and two now to Tolley.
Nice crowd today, Gare.
Well, closing day. It's a special day. Chance for the fans to say goodbye for the year. It's very interesting. Yesterday, just hanging out among some of the fans. I was stunned at how many people said, you know, I really wish the season wasn't ending.
Yeah.
You know, you figure this kind of year people would be done, but some people just can't get enough. Only lifts one down the left field line, and that'll go foul out of play.
Well, if you go into the season, Gary, expecting 500 great moments, they've got less than that this year. So maybe they're not ready for the team to stop playing. They want to fill that quotient.
Tough time of year to do this.
That's right.
Today is the 10th anniversary of a great Met moment. Outlighters shut out in Cincinnati in a one-game wild card playoff. Tolley pops another one in foul ground, and Boone over for a look, but he runs out of room.
He was great that day, considering it was a tough day to pitch, wasn't it? Rainy and kind of cold.
Well, Al, with that power cutter, he always threw the right-hand hitters on their hands.
Yeah, ate him up, right?
And Al had wicked stuff. Power pitcher.
And Alfonso gave him a home run before he ever took the mound in Cincinnati, and that helped.
What was the final score in that game?
It was 5-0.
That's Old Riverfront, right?
Well, yep.
Okay.
One and two to Tolley. And he bounces the breaking ball foul. That's got some long turns at bat in this inning.
They have. It's interesting to watch Mr. Lopez throw. He's got good movement on his pitches, but not good enough to have swing and misses. A lot of fouled pitches off here by the Mets.
Ready for an autograph?
There you go.
Should be 2010 on there.
Will be 2010 in about 5.5 more innings.
Oh, good cut. He had a pitch to hit there.
It's interesting how things work. I was opening up my email today to see this pitch to Tolley, Keith.
There was his pitch to hit. Just got under it.
And I got an email for spring training next year, which is before the last game. We're already worried about spring training.
First game.
Oh, goodness gracious.
March the 2nd against the Braves.
Home or away?
And Port St. Lucie will be there.
Okay.
We'll be on the air. 1-2 to Tolley. Pulled just foul.
And evidently the Mets will finish up on the West Coast
of
Florida, the end of spring training before they go north. And will they open up with Florida or the Washington Nationals here?
Right here against the Marlins, Monday afternoon, April the 5th.
Wonderful. Didn't we have a night home opener this year, wasn't it?
Yes.
Well, that was because a new ballpark, a little different field.
Day game. You got to have a day game.
Yep, I agree. I think a lot of the games should be day games in April when it's cold anyway. But so much for that.
It used to be that way, but it used to be for many, many years the Mets would never play a night game before May 1st. That changed a while ago. You know why it changed? Because of us.
Yeah, we're not part of the solution. We're part of the problem.
Exactly. Well, Reed had a 10-pitch at bat, and now Tolley about to see the 10th pitch of his at bat.
Just maybe doesn't have a good enough breaking ball, Ronnie. Mr. Lopez.
And Josh lines one base hit, and that'll bring in a run. Beltran comes in to score. Josh Tolley with an RBI single, and it's 2-0 New York.
Nice at bat for Josh. Fought off a lot of pitches, missed one to hit, and here's the same one back. A little more down, and that's his spot. Hits it beautifully up the middle. Nicely done.
Well, 4 straight Mets have reached base to begin this inning.
His ILTV pitch differential. Wanted that ball away. It was lower than Quintero wanted it, which is a good thing, but more of the middle of the plate.
That's the difference.
And that probably, in that back to back up what you were saying, that probably was the 6th or 7th pitch down and away that he saw. The middle plate away in that at bat.
I don't think that Lopez has a good enough breaking ball. He needs to get more of a down breaking ball. I always like a right-hander to throw a ball that, like he does, it has that kind of movement.
Now Anderson Hernandez takes wide. Well, the Mets have a run in. It might have been a much larger inning, but for Hunter Pence's great throw to gun down Murphy, trying to stretch a single into a double. Oh! Hit by Lopez out at second, and Tejada throws it away. Here comes Reed to score, and it's 3-0 New York. An unbelievable play by Lopez, barehanding that hard ground ball, and got the out, but Tejada threw it away to allow a run to score.
This is a bullet, folks. Watch this. Wow. And a perfect feed, and Tejada, no one near him, just throws it away. Oh, he couldn't get it out of his glove.
Couldn't get it out of his glove, and it almost looked like he turned his ankle on the bag. Just threw off his timing.
Yeah, the bad footwork on that throw. Excuse me, that was a double call there on my part. Repeating myself. Try to stay away from that.
So it's a fielder's choice. Error on Tejada, and Figueroa gets into one to left center field, but Lee moves back in the gap to grab it, and that ends the inning. But the Mets put up 2 in the 4th inning and lead 3-0 after 4.
about this if you're a coach on this Mets coaching staff. You have no idea what the future is. Every coach in the staff does not have a contract for next year. And I was talking to Howard Johnson today, and he said, taking it back to last year, really went a couple of weeks before they went through all the management meetings and decisions before we even knew, if we were coming back. So that was obviously a little tough to deal with. And I said, well, how do you deal with that in your job? How do you deal with that not knowing? He said, you can't even let it be in the approach. You can't. It doesn't even come into play. You don't think about it. And what you do is you do your job like always because you're a pro, because you want to help guys. I want to help guys succeed. I want to help guys achieve their goals and kind of put that in the back. But you'd have to think it's got to be a little tough. I mean, here it is, last day of the year, and you don't know what your job future holds, but you got to be a pro and do your thing to the very end. Back up to you.
Well, as with anybody whose job security is in question, the best thing you can do to enhance your resume is to keep doing your job.
Well, there's not much you can do. It's out of your hands. So just keep on putting the uniform on, go out there and do your job. And
Aaron Boone down looking for the first out of the inning.
To keep on trucking moment, right, Keith?
Certain things you just have no control over, and take it in stride.
The one thing that makes it difficult, because I've been on a couple of teams where coaches will let go late, and that's always a problem because it's hard for them to hook on with either within the organization or with another organization.
Absolutely. Kaz Matsui up. Flight out to left his first time. In Detroit, Magglio Ordonez has just homered in the bottom of the fifth, and the Tigers now lead the White Sox 4-0. Justin Verlander doing exactly what the Tigers wanted him to do. One hit through 5 innings.
Unbelievable. He's a stud.
I think that Jimmy Leland would love to see this game turn into a blowout so they can take Verlander out.
How much of a blowout would it have to be?
It's got to be 8-9 to nothing.
Right, exactly.
Kansas City didn't score in the top of the first at Minnesota. Twins have a runner at second and nobody out.
Well, this is what happens to a lot of teams, guys, is that they fight tooth and nail as Kaz Matsui grounds out to Castillo. Fight tooth and nail to get in the playoffs, but they've had to use all of their starting pitching to get there, and they're left with a little less than they'd like at the first game anyway.
Well, sometimes that hurts you, and sometimes it doesn't. We were just talking about 1999 when the Mets had to stave off elimination every day coming down the stretch. Came from 2 games back with 3 to play to get to a wild card playoff, and then pitched their best in that wild card playoff. They were left with a number 5 starter, Masato Yoshii, to pitch the first game against Randy Johnson in Arizona. Who won the game?
He beat him.
The Mets did.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's an advantage, big advantage. Maybe it's just that the team that's playing the hardest down the stretch is more ready when game 1 hits.
Well, certainly that was true for Colorado a couple of years ago when they made that great run to win the wild card. And wound up in the World Series.
Well, Arizona ran through the Cubs that year, and the Rockies ran through who? Philadelphia.
Right. And then swept the Diamondbacks.
Yes. Only to have to face the Red Sox where they were swept.
Bit of an overmatch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That World Series.
I think they just ran out of gas. 21 of the last 22.
Well, not only that, but when they finally faced the Red Sox were on a pretty good roll of their own.
That's right.
I think they met their master.
0-2, and Quintero pokes one foul.
By the way, Figueroa is throwing a very fine ball game.
Talking about very sharp his pitches, right?
Very sharp. Good curveball tonight. He's locating the curve well. Wow, look at that, Ron.
That's Santana-like.
Quintero holds the swing. The other thing about that 07 series is once the Rockies beat the Diamondbacks, they have to wait 8 days for the World Series to start, and that'll kill your momentum.
You're right.
When the Cardinals beat the Tigers, didn't the Tigers have a long wait in between in that series, or am I mistaken?
Yes, they did. They did. And the Cardinals, of course,
went 7 with the Mets.
So
Pats just scored. They're up 17-7 on Baltimore.
We are doing a little better job in the red zone today.
Were they playing in New England?
Yeah.
Well, I'd tell you what, Baltimore's going to be tough to beat.
Check
this year.
swing again, and Quintero held.
Have you been in that stadium?
Which one?
In New England?
No, I have not. You like it?
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable.
I have not been there. I was in the old stadium many times with the aluminum bleachers.
When it was cold.
Quintero pokes one to right for a 2-out hit.
This is a bad thought, but it's like he would stick to the seat. That's how bad it was. It was icy.
One time I decided to go to a Giant game back in the Phil Simms days at the last moment, and I was able to get 2 tickets, and it was up the last seat in the upper tank.
No way.
And it was freezing.
Where was this?
And it was ice up there.
Where was this?
The Meadowlands.
Oh.
And I sat through the whole first half, and I finally said, I can't take it. And fortunately, I was walking around, got into where the suites were, and I saw Anheuser-Busch suite, so I poked my head in. I watched the second half in comfort.
He said, I'm Keith Hernandez.
For a place where you could find a friend. Place where everybody knows your name.
I mean, I've never been so cold at a sporting event in my life. And then upper last seat. Oh.
0-2 to Lopez, and he strikes out. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, Jason Kubel just hit a 3-run homer at the bottom of the first to put the Twins up 3-0. Mets lead by the same score halfway through. Recap, the Mets on the final day, getting great pitching so far from Nelson Figueroa, who's thrown 5 scoreless innings and allowed just 3 hits. Angel Pagan trying to finish over 300. He needs to go 2 for 4 today. Well, he's 2 for 2. And so he's hitting .302 right now.
Very nice.
Means he can afford a couple of hitless at bats, but not 3.
Keep it going.
2 for 5 doesn't work. 2 for 4 does.
Get another one here and end it. That ends it.
That would seal it. Angel had a lucky hit, a triple, and now a shot to the gap, and maybe he's got another triple. Bourne cuts it off, and that'll hold Pagan to a double. Well, now he's got a single, a triple, and a double, and every reason to stay in the game for the duration.
Thinking about the cycle, nice first pitch hitting. Unlike Figueroa, has been throwing those breaking pitches first pitch. Lopez with the fastball. Nice job by Bourne to cut that off. You think speed only works on the bases? Speed also works defensively, but nice hitting by Angel.
Meanwhile, Delman Young followed Jason Kubel's home run with one of his own, and the Twins are up 4-0 in the first inning against Luke Hochevar and the Royals. So the Tigers and the Twins each with 4-0 leads. And Castillo fouls it off. And Mr. Darling, I think you're going to Minneapolis.
I got my passport, 1-800 Northwest. I'm coming.
Wait a second, you need a passport to go to Minnesota? Do you speak Minnesota?
Oh, jeez. I don't know. Wild rice soup, I know. I love that.
Lutefisk? Do you eat lutefisk?
I don't eat lutefisk. No.
You're probably better off that way. You know what lutefisk is?
No, I don't.
It's fish soaked in lye.
It's not like gefilte fish.
No,
is it?
no.
Okay. One thing, don't tell anybody though. I think I'm going to go a little earlier tomorrow because the game's on Tuesday at 5 o'clock Eastern time. And I might try to sneak in. They got a little football game going.
Oh, Vikings play tomorrow night. Well,
I won't tell anyone though because my family might be playing.
Of course, they're playing the Packers tomorrow,
That's right.
That'll be an interesting little test for Mr. Favre.
It will.
2-1 to Castillo, who has a sacrifice bunt and a sacrifice fly today. Now has 40 runs batted in. David Wright on deck.
I did the White Sox-Minnesota playoff game last year in Chicago when they decided for all the fans to wear just black. It was a really cool scene, by the way. And those games, the finality of the game, they're pretty cool games to do.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the Rockies had the one 2 years ago against the Padres. That was an incredible game that wound up going 13 innings.
The holiday head game.
Well, remember, Trevor Hoffman had the lead in the 9th inning and gave it up in that game.
Well, he had given up the lead earlier that year with Tony Gwynn. Got that triple off him.
That was the last Saturday of the season. They could have clinched that day. Kept the Rockies in it. 3-1 to Castillo, and he bounces one to the right side. And Berkman makes the play, but Pagan over to third with one out, so another productive out for Castillo.
Nice job by Louis today. Sacrifice bunt, a sacrifice fly for an RBI, and a ground out to the right side to advance Pagan.
So now David Wright, and you see not only is David going with the stirrups today, so are the bat boys.
Well, I'll tell you, all those young guys in there, they idolize David, of course, and he could not be any nicer. There's a lot of times, those young kids kind of forget about all the great things that they do, and of course for UI and Keith to thank them, they bring our luggage around, load it onto the truck, and all those kind of things, and they're just. It's a tough job. They spend a lot of hours here doing a lot of tough things.
Wright hits it to center field, deep enough to get the run in. Bourne grabs it, and Pagan can walk on in with the 4th New York run. David Wright has his 72nd run batted in, and the Mets lead 4-0. So Angel Pagan scores for the second time today. And now Carlos Beltran bats. Carlos 1 for 2. Singled and scored in the 4th inning. Well, there'll be at least a little drama for this game. Next time around the batting order, Angel Pagan will have a chance to hit for the cycle. Drive to center, and Bourne with a sliding catch to retire Beltran and end the inning. Mets add a run and lead 4-0 after 5 on the final day at Citi Field. Sixth inning, Nelson Figueroa working with a 4-0 lead. Michael Bourne at the top of the batting order, up for the third time. He singled and struck out 1 for 2. Made that nice sliding catch to end the 5th inning, and our cameraman got a great shot at it. And we get a lot of glory here, you know, Keith and Vaughn and myself, but this is a medium television that is very much a shared workload. There are dozens upon dozens of people who go into creating every telecast, who have a lot more impact on what you see at home than we do. Our cameramen, our tape people, our technical crew, all the folks who do all the really hard work that makes our job a lot easier. As Bourne strikes out, and just want to pass along a salute, because these guys, they are the best at what they do.
They are.
They are craftsmen. They're artists, and we'd be lost without them.
Well, there's a creativity that Mr. Webb's crew has.
Oh, there's Al.
Well,
What a ham.
maybe not all of them.
Well, he gets too much glory, too.
But there's a creativity that our broadcasts have that, remember, I do other broadcasts, and these guys are the best. They're just so good.
As Tejada lines one to Reed for the second out.
So talented and somewhat humble.
Well, it's Bill Webb's A team, his A cameraman, and as I said before, we're on the road with Bill. He can crack the whip, but he never has to crack the whip with these guys. And they do a great job. And remember, they're here every night. The baseball's every day. They're here every homestand, and they put the hours in that we put in, and a lot more hours than we do. They're here long before we get here. So, guys, great job. Bill Webb's taking you all to dinner after the game.
You know, I got to spend that one day at the truck earlier this year. And what was amazing to me is that Webby never had to ask the cameramen for shots. They all knew what he wanted to shoot before he asked, because they've got a great relationship and a great sense of, you know, who's supposed to be where when. And baseball is the hardest game to shoot. I mean, if you're doing a basketball game, the ball goes back and forth. It's linear.
Yeah, how many acres are we covering here every game? It's amazing.
And the ball goes one way, and the fielders go a different way.
Exactly.
Got base runners going in all sorts of different directions, and it is a very complicated game to cover adequately, and our guys are way beyond that. They're absolutely the best at their craft, so salute them.
There are so many cameras that we use, and that one of the main gripes I always hear Bill or Danny Regan when we're on the road. Danny's when Bill does game of the weeks, and Dan Regan usually fills in, is
unless he's flying to Israel.
Yes. Is that, you know, we had this play and the players were on the second base and the cameraman had him out of focus and we couldn't use it. Well, it doesn't happen here.
Three-two to Berkman. In the air to shallow left. On comes Pagan with the glasses on. And a 1-2-3 inning for Nelson Figueroa. 6 scoreless for Nelson on the final day. 4-0 Mets. Then Wesley Wright will take over the pitching for the Astros.
Wesley Wright, the diminutive left-hander for the Houston Astros. His 49th game. He's got a very good hook. You know what he reminds me of, Keith, in the day in the 80s? Remember Chuck McElroy?
Yes.
Had the good high fastball and the curveball. Wesley Wright reminds me of him.
Murphy rolls one down to first for Berkman. He'll take it himself. One away. So Murphy retired. Jeremy Reed coming up. Let's check in with Kevin.
Garrett, despite that ground out, Howard Johnson was beaming about the progress that Daniel Murphy has made this year. And I said, what was the toughest thing to get through to him from a coaching standpoint? He said, well, the toughest thing to break was he was always working so hard and worried so much about his swing. And I had to tell him, it's not all about your swing. It's a competition with the pitcher. You have to realize that. He said once he started to embrace that a little bit, then he became a different hitter. Then we worked on different areas and he had success in different areas. It wasn't just pitch Murph away. He could go the other way. He started to do different things with different pitches and then finally came around to dealing with the fastball on the fist that, of course, we've seen him guys pile right into the Pepsi porch a couple times. So Hojo really thinks that there are doors now open that he can kind of plow right through starting next spring training, guys. And even in winter ball, because he'll be playing there as well. I left you speechless, huh?
Oh, would you ask a question?
No, I just figured maybe you'd talk at some point.
I was daydreaming, to be quite honest.
Well, that's okay because the last half.
Sorry, Kev.
Last half inning you weren't even here. But I understand you were working.
Yes.
Last half inning.
Last half inning,
Where did you go?
I went to the restroom and
well, that's not working.
Howie.
Well, I hope it's working.
Wayne was Howie. I speak. Howie was all by himself. Wayne wasn't there, so Howie said, "Come to a half inning with me."
Where did Wayne go?
I don't know. Wayne wasn't there, so I did a half inning in Wayne's chair with Howie on the radio.
Did you say anything interesting?
Not really. You have to talk an awful lot more.
Yes, you do. Reed walks for the third straight time. Well, I have to learn to talk a lot less working with you guys here.
Well, Lopez and Wright are killing me because I predicted Reed home run. He's got 3 walks now.
Well, but he's got a chance for the stolen base.
There you go. Come on, fill that one in.
Fill one of those holes. There's Josh Tolle, who had a terrific at bat in the 4th inning and singled to drive in a run. Josh leaves on Wednesday for Caracas, where they'll be playing winter ball.
It's quite an international city, Caracas, of course. People from all over the world make their home there because of the oil industry.
Oh, almost got him in the head. Tolle just gets out of the way.
That was close. It's a tracer, never left.
That's close. That'll get your attention. Now, what you want to do as a hitter, hit a line drive or pull it right back up the middle.
Now, we talk all the time about hitters not being equipped to get out of the way. It looked like he did a pretty good job there.
That was outstanding, and then backed it up with a slide piece. That's almost unfair, but you don't have to worry about young Josh. He's a tough kid. He'll stay in there.
The other way, and Tolle gets revenge with a base hit. Reed trying for third. He'll make it easily. Tolle into second, sliding with a double. Well, guy throws at your head. Get a double. Best revenge.
Cool slider, then off the plate too. I'll tell you what, nice hitting. That's almost on the chalk. Tolle on top of the plate. And Mr. Wright doesn't throw inside.
Well, he threw inside once.
But just, yeah. It didn't affect, though, Josh. And that's great to see.
Now here's Anderson Hernandez. And the Astros will have to bring the infield in again. Mets already with a 4-0 lead. Only 2 batters away from Angel Pagan and his first crack at hitting for the cycle today.
talked about it the other day when Pagan comes up that B.J. Upton hit for the cycle for Tampa Bay. That was their first. So that really leads to San Diego Padres, right?
Well, the Padres not only have not had a cycle, they haven't had a no-hitter. I mean, the Mets haven't had a no-hitter, but the Mets have had, what, 7 cycles?
The Padres don't have a cycle?
Nope.
Tony Gwynn all those years?
No no-hitter.
That's hard to believe, right?
Wow.
Well, he didn't hit that many home runs.
Yeah, you figure over his long career, he hit a bomb one time.
And the second half of his career, there weren't a lot of triples.
That's true, too.
That's when he started putting on the pounds.
I mean, when Tony first came up, he was svelte.
Yeah.
He could run. He was a Gold Glove outfielder.
Yes, he was.
Well, he'd been a great basketball player at San Diego State. He wasn't a great outfielder, though, when he came up. He made himself into a great outfielder. He was a great natural athlete out there, but he taught himself to be a great outfielder.
Reed and Tolle in scoring position for Hernandez, who's hitting .364 with runners in scoring position since joining the Mets. But Wright gets him swinging with the fastball for the second out.
High cheddar just ran away from him.
So now Nelson Figueroa, who's having himself a fine day. Nelson has struck out and flied out 0 for 2.
Got a rousing cheer. Let me tell you something. Nelson is, what, 2-8, and let me tell you, that's a tough 2-8 he's taken. He's pitched well. Could very easily be at 500.
Yeah.
If not, maybe one above.
Can I tell you what he just did, guys, what he does all the time? I know it's a simple thing, but it's lost sometimes, I think. Now, he's here getting on deck, and there's a ball that comes loose. He grabs it, finds a little girl in the crowd, and gets her the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, who does that when they're pitching? I mean, it's just, it's a little thing that he does all the time. Very connected to the fans.
Well, I think Nelson is a guy who has a perfect attitude for this game, which has thrown him so many curves over the years.
Yeah. He just has a love for the game. And when he's not pitching, he's out here signing autographs for an hour every day.
By the way, Kevin's got the best seat in the house down there right now.
You've sat there this year, haven't you?
Yes, he's down there by the right behind the camera. Camera's in the first base dugout. That's a great seat.
He's working on a suntan already.
You got sunscreen there, Kevin? Wouldn't want you to get burned.
Myself covered, fellas.
He's Jersey Shore guy. He's fine.
I have my flip-flops in the car, though.
Figueroa struck out to end the inning, so Wright strands 2. 6 in the books. 4-0 Mets. We're 2/3. Latest from Rex and insider info and opinion from a Jets blog that's always updated with latest Jets news. There's a place for that. SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. That trivia question for the final day. Who are the Mets' all-time home run leaders by position?
No going to the computer now, guys. This is off the top of your head. No cheating. Come up with your list. We'll come up with our list.
First base.
Gary won't. He knows them already.
Kingman might be first base because he played a lot of first base, right, Gary?
I don't think so.
Not enough?
Not enough years.
Okay. Oh, well, Mr. Cranepool,
I would
possibly?
think Cranepool, just because of the number of years.
Yeah, and catcher's the easiest.
Pulled down the line by Carlos Lee, and just foul. Well, we had a couple of guys at catcher, Huntley and Piazza. But I think Mike has.
It's got to be Mike. Just foul for Lee.
David Wright's got to have a lock on third.
The straw man and Wright.
Second and short, of course, are the tough ones.
Yes.
Where are you going? Alfonso at second?
Alfonso sounds like a.
How about shortstop? That's a toughie.
Could be Reyes.
Because of the years
He
played.
had 19 one year.
Yeah. And he's played enough years.
Beltran center.
Well, are we going left field, center field, right field, or is it just outfield?
No, left field,
outfield.
center, right.
Well, but I don't know how the question is going to be. The answer is going to be put up.
Wow.
Obviously, Straw has the most all time as a Met.
Seaver.
Oh, in the air to left field, and Pagan is under it.
How about pitcher?
It should be by outfield position, but just like the Gold Glove, just goes right to position. It's not. So it's outfield, just the outfielders.
Pitcher, it's either Seaver or Good.
Seaver.
You had two.
Yeah, that's not enough. I had two in successive games, so all that tells you there's a lot of down.
You were hot.
That was hot too, I'll tell you.
Who'd you hit him off of?
I hit one off Floyd Yeomans. That was Big Shea. And then one off one of the nasty boys.
Charlton?
The left-hander. Charlton. And he screamed at me.
Why?
all the way around the base, a 3-run bomb.
Oh,
made it 2-2 to 5-2.
That was his temperament.
You should have just told him you threw it. Shoot, I just hit it.
Oh, Walt Terrell had 2 in one game.
That's right. Chicago, right? I remember that. I was there.
Pence pops one up. Anderson Hernandez calling. And that retires. That's the second out of the inning. I'm getting ahead of myself. I mean, there's so few innings left. I shouldn't rush them.
Do rush him.
Walt Terrell game, I believe, he hit 2 2-run home runs, won 4-0, and pitched a shutout in Wrigley Field.
Yes.
Crazy crap.
What year did you hit your home runs, Ron?
1989.
So I was there.
There you were there.
I forgot. You must have been little cheap ones.
They probably were.
No such thing as a cheap one.
Well, Riverfront. Ball flew out of there in the summer.
No such thing as a cheapie.
Aaron Boone is 0 for 2, still looking for his first hit since coming back from open heart surgery.
And Floyd Yeomans at that time was a pretty tough mark.
Of course, Yeomans began in the Mets organization, sent over to Montreal in the Gary Carter trade.
Who went over there? Hubie Brooks, Mike Fitzgerald, Yeomans,
Herm Winningham.
There you go.
Slowly hit. And Wright with a running toss. Murphy with the stretch. Side retired. 7th inning stretch time. When we come back, Angel Pagan takes a crack at the cycle. He's got the single, he's got the triple, and he's got the double. Pagan takes a crack at history when we come back. And on the day's hottest New York sports stories. On Tuesday, Jets safety Kerry Rhodes bringing an exclusive insider look at today's Jets Saints game to the debate. In the Wheelhouse, presented by Pepsi, weekdays at 5:30 only on SNY. Aflac! To answer our Aflac trivia question, Met home run leaders by position. Well, here's your list. Hey, we missed Jeff Kent.
Doc, Sheik. We forgot the Sheik. We gave it to David. What were we thinking?
Johnson.
Oh, Haji. Jeff Kent.
Yep. So we missed a Hall of Famer.
We missed everything. Just awful.
Oh, well. Maybe next year we'll do better. Meanwhile, Angel Pagan will try to become the 10th Met ever to hit for the cycle. Jim Hickman, Tommy Agee, Mike Phillips, Keith Hernandez, Kevin McReynolds, Alex Ochoa, John Olerud, Eric Valent, and the latest was Jose Reyes, who did it at Shea Stadium in July of 2006. Pagan has a single, a gift, a triple, and a home run, well earned, a triple and double, well earned. His last home run came August the 27th in Florida. He has 6 home runs this year. And if you get in this situation, Keith, as a hitter, are you thinking home run?
It's for me, it would be the one hit that I would least want to have to get.
Yeah.
Obviously, you would want to go into it needing a single.
And he lines one to left field. That'll be a base hit, his 4th of the game. And he'll make it to second base with his second double of this game. And if the Mets can put a few more base runners on the board, perhaps they'll get another shot at the cycle.
Well, what a day.
What a day is right. This is the one to end the season on. Pagan can hit. We know that.
Well, we speculated that after he got the first hit and got to 300 that maybe he would be taken out. He stays in, goes 4 for 4. Now he's in 306. So congratulations to Angel Pagan.
Yes.
Here's Castillo, who has made a day of advancing runners today. He had a sacrifice bunt in the first, a sacrifice fly in the third, and an advancing ground out in the 5th that led to a run.
Go to hitting.
And he does, and he fouls it off. His first at bat as a right-hand hitter today, and Louis less likely to sacrifice as a right-hand batter.
4-0. Tell him, drive him in. Let her rip.
When you hit for your cycle, you had the single last, right?
Yes. I actually had it first, and Terry Tata blew the call early in the game. Dale Murphy made a diving catch on my sinking line drive.
That was your second at bat after you had the
yes, double. And he didn't make the catch, and Tata knew he blew it.
Now, what inning did you finish your cycle?
Sure.
Yeah, but what inning do you remember?
Oh, God, I don't
like the 11th? Because you had, I think, 4 more plate appearances after you finished the cycle. You could have gone for the double cycle.
Wow. I was exhausted in that game, let me tell you.
And, of course, it was the Mets' 19-inning game against the Braves in '85 on July the 4th and 5th.
Yeah, that's right.
I was just whipped after that game. What time we get back? That game ended at, what, 4:30 in the morning?
I made the
3:55.
Yeah, last pitch at 4 a.m. just about. We got back. Everyone showered pretty quickly because the whole team was showered, except for the 9 people on the field. Gary Carter caught all 19.
My dad,
pretty impressive.
My dad called me the next morning, not morning, the next night, and said, what was Davey thinking catching Carter with his knees up that entire ballgame?
Well, he had some breaks. After all, there were, what, 3 rain delays?
That's right.
Kid, he didn't play the next day, I know that. He earned that one.
I think we went with the B squad anyway that next day. The B squad was pretty good, though, also.
Boone throws out Castillo for the first out. There's a nice reminiscing article in the New York Daily News today about Rafael Santana.
I saw that.
Yes.
Rafi, what a great teammate he was.
He's still with Kansas City organization?
He's working down in the Dominican.
He knew how to hit 8th, and that sounds like a silly statement, but he knew how to work the pitcher, knew how to advance runners. He always would get the runner at first by half a step, and just a great teammate.
Now David Wright's going to be walked intentionally. That's not what you want for your last at bat of the season. Carlos Beltran will come up with 2 men on.
Interesting. Well, guys, if you will indulge me here, we'll send out our condolences to the Rivera family. Steve Rivera passed away yesterday, and he had worked up to the last homestand. He had been an usher in the Loge in Section 2 at Shea from 1964. He was 88 years old, and he worked up to the last homestand. So our condolences out to the Rivera family.
There are people around this organization who have been here for, I mean, this is the 48th year of the franchise. There are still some folks here who have been around right from the beginning.
And they really are the royalty of this organization, the kings and queens.
Including, of course, Ralph Kiner. There you go. And, so great to have Ralph in here on Friday night for his last appearance of the season. Just brings something special every time he comes. Here's Carlos Beltran, who's 1 for 3, and he takes low and inside 1-0.
You know, sometimes you get in your own little world here, and you come to the booth, and you're preparing for the game. And I don't know Ralph's going to be in the booth for that day, and he comes in and he sits next to you, and you get just puts an instant smile on your face, doesn't it? That you know you're going to have Ralph in the booth. It's fantastic.
In Minnesota, Jason Kubel has hit his 2nd home run of the game, and the Twins are up 7-0 on the Royals now. Meanwhile, the White Sox have put a run on the board in the top of the 8th against Justin Verlander. It's now 5-1, and the White Sox have 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. Trying to put a little crimp in Tuesday's plans. One and 2 to Beltran. Well, Carlos Beltran, 3rd on the Mets' decade-long home run list on Piazza and Wright. Delgado got 4th spot on that list in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah, he did.
He's only here for 3+ years. A shot by Beltran foul. Well, the White Sox just got a 2-run single from Brent Lillibridge, the former Brave, in the top of the 8th. It's now Detroit 5 and Chicago 3, and the tying run is coming to bat. How about that?
Wow. Time to go to the bullpen?
Well, it's been a difficult wave for Jimmy Leland lately.
Usually in this situation, they'll go to Brandon Lyon before they go to Rodney.
Well, watching Rodney last night, he was a little shaky, and has been.
Oh, that would be devastating. They coughed that up.
Ooh, well, would have all winter to think about it.
Yeah, they would.
Mets have been there. 1-2 to Beltran. Foul back.
Ron Gardenhire might have got the American League Manager of the Year for what he's done. I mean, I thought, Girardi, of course, because of how many wins they've had this year. Socha seems to be a year-to-year candidate.
I'll tell you who might get a lot of consideration is the guy in Seattle, Don Wakamatsu.
Yeah, you're right.
They lost 101 games last year and finished with a winning record this season.
Yeah.
It's like Wright has nothing to fool Beltran with. If Beltran makes an out, he'll be the one that makes it. He's on every pitch. He's a little out in front. Nice. That little slugger got a ball.
Keith and Gary, they fade at the end, but Ron Washington has to get some consideration.
Sure. Keeping the Rangers in contention. That ball gets behind Quintero, and the runners advance to 2nd and 3rd.
Box it and send me a dozen.
How about National League Manager of the Year?
Gotta be Jim Tracy.
Gotta be. You're right.
They just called that a wild pitch?
No.
They did.
No, it's a pass
It's
ball.
gotta be a pass ball.
Is that Bill Shannon again?
No, I think it's Howie Carpenter.
All right.
2-2 to Beltran, infield in, and Carlos pulls another one foul. He's taking care of that section down there. They've got all sorts of souvenirs. I'm not going to change that. I already wrote pass ball down on my score.
I keep it in all the time, and then I circle it. If they don't change it, then I know that one, it's a pass ball, and that it was a controversial call.
Oh, very good, Ronnie.
It's too complicated. Beltran pops it up. Matsui has to retreat. Is he going to get there? Pence comes on from right and makes the catch. And the runners have to hold. With the infield in, Matsui was not going to get there, but Pence came in to grab it.
Well, that'll make Carlos very angry.
By the way, Verlander is still pitching for the Tigers.
Yeah, same thing happened to him in his last start against the Twins. Ended up giving 4 runs over 8 innings. Hit a shutout, and late in that game it started to get
right. He's facing Scotty Pasednik with a runner at second and still only 1 out.
Pasednik's been their MVP this season, by the way.
But he popped up.
Well, go sit down.
So they're 2 out. 5-3 Detroit in the 8th.
Go Tigers. I like Jimmy Leland. Think the world of him. Like to see it would be fun to see a 163rd game.
He had my favorite line all year. I asked him about the guys injured. Does he keep a close tab on him? He goes, no. So the trainer told me about the guys who go out and play soft toss. Do I want to go watch him? I said, absolutely not. Tell me when he can hard toss. Then I'll watch him.
Another inside pitch from Wesley Wright, who buzzed Josh Tolle in the last inning.
Really?
I like the Tigers because they have my favorite name in the major leagues on their roster. Fu Te Ni.
Yeah, that's right.
Where's he from?
He's a relief pitcher from, I guess, Taiwan. 3-0 now to Murphy with Jeremy Reed on deck. Well, the Mets get a couple more base runners. They can get Pagan another turn at bat before this afternoon is through. And Murphy takes a strike, 3-1. Pagan is at third, Wright at second.
Look away.
Dixieland. There's a strike, 3-2.
Told you. Lefties are so predictable. I better not throw him in because he might be looking in and take me deep. Take this line drive to left center field, pal.
Base open. He just shook off twice. If he shakes off one more time, usually that means fastball.
Stay away.
There's a fastball.
And the reason I say that is because relievers, they usually only have 2 pitches. So if they shake off 3 or 4 times, that's the catcher telling them to shake off to try to confuse the hitter that they're shaking off from their fastball to a breaking pitch. But if they do it 3 or 4 times, it means that the catcher's doing it, so really they're only throwing a fastball. Should have told you that in '83, huh?
Where were you when I needed you?
Again, the 3-2 to Murphy. And he lofts one to right field, and Pence comes on, shading his eyes, and makes the catch. A double by Pagan for his 4th hit of the day. Figueroa back to the mound, up 4-0. It's in New Orleans. Tune to SNY for Jets postgame live with wall-to-wall locker room coverage, player reactions, highlights, and exclusive interviews. Jets postgame live tonight immediately after the Jets-Saints game, only on SNY. They're lost.
Oh, what are they doing? What are they thinking?
It's a 4 train, buddy.
No.
Lost. Kaz Matsui leads off, but you're welcome to defect anytime. We've got a big tent here. Matsui is flied out and grounded out 0 for 2. Nelson Figueroa working into the 8th inning. The longest outing of Nelson's career was 7 2/3. He did that for the Phillies back in 2001 against the Expos, a team that doesn't even exist anymore.
The 95 pitches. I don't have a sign up here, but if it did, it'd say CG or bust.
Well, he threw, what, 127?
127 pitches in that one start.
I'm sure that's what he has in mind.
He wants to finish.
Murphy tries to get back to the bag, and he just does in time.
I thought he beat it.
Well, there's no beating it on the last day of the season.
Gary Cedarstrom making the call of out.
Oh, Louis got to wait because,
not out.
And not a good stretch either.
Well, honestly, what's better to do there if you get confused as a first baseman? Get out of the way. Let the pitcher cover. Nelson was right there ready to go. And nobody arguing on other sides.
No. Quintero lifts one to center field. And Beltran is there. That's 2 out, and now Figueroa has matched the longest outing of his career as Feliciano and Parnell stay ready. There's a Jeep around the majors. Dodgers clinched the NL West last night behind Clayton Kershaw. Fernando Rodney came on in the top of that 8th inning, and he got Carlos Quentin to fly out. So they go to the bottom of the 8th with the Tigers leading the White Sox 5-3, and a huge day for Jason Kubel. It is now 7-1 Minnesota as they play the top of the 4th in the Metrodome. Darren Erstad comes up to pinch hit for the Astros.
Twins are going to win that game tomorrow. They're hot.
Erstad having a rough year, hitting just 195, but this is now his 72nd pinch hitting appearance.
Boy, would you ever have thought that in the last week or so in the season you'd get a couple of shutouts from Pat Mish and a chance for one with Nelson Figueroa? That is something.
Mish almost had his 2nd straight complete game yesterday. If they hadn't resumed the game.
What up with that yesterday, by the way? But you know, for a guy like Tejada, he wants to play 9 innings. He got one more at bat, right?
Yeah, that's right. Tejada trying to get to 200 hits.
I got a nice nap in during the rain delay.
Yeah, we had a nice. Carrie took a nice picture of you, by the way, at the banquet.
She did?
She did.
That was your 2nd nap, by the way.
What, my son? I'm older than you guys.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, Pops.
Al, no one's talking to you, Al. But out.
He's very nosy, Al. He doesn't want to be left out.
Oh boy, top of the 8th.
Giants are in the 4th quarter, leading the Chiefs 20-3. 2-2 to Erstad. Curveball struck him out. And for the first time in his major league career, Nelson Figueroa has made it through 8 innings. He'll be trying for 9, you can be sure.
A talented player, an intelligent player also.
Well, the Claw, Sammy Hervasio, will pitch the bottom of the 8th inning.
I think you got to have more than 28 games to have a nickname, by the way. But the Claw came in yesterday's game in the 5th inning.
Where's 99?
He's very he's very unusual. He'll point that ball to the third base bag, and then he'll quickly stare at the hitter. And then what you see after that, you won't see very often. A whirling dervish kind of motion that takes him to the plate. There's the stare. Chief!
Jeremy Reed leads off and takes a strike. Reed's been up 3 times today and walked all 3.
All that being said, I say to chest, he has great stuff.
What is that about?
And Reed hooks one toward the right field corner, and it's a foul ball.
Almost called it, Ronnie.
Well, Ronnie said he was going to hit his first home run of the year today, and he hooked it a little bit. Well, the Mets need 2 base runners here in the 8th inning to get Angel Pagan another crack at hitting for the cycle. Angel is 4 for 4 with a single, 2 doubles, and a triple. Not only could he have a chance for the cycle, but the Mets have not had a 5-hit game this year.
Keith, do you remember how many 5-hit games you had? Would that be something that a hitter would remember?
No, I don't. Had too many.
Like a 3 home run game you'd remember.
Yeah. Oh, like no, I never had that. I had 2 2-run home run games. I don't remember the second one. For the life of me. And I think I had 2. Thought I saw that somewhere. I only remember the one in Atlanta.
Oh, nice
what a nice catch, Slugger.
Right below us, a youngster in a David Wright jersey.
What a nice catch.
That is awesome.
How about that? That's just superb. The reaction was as good as the catch. Oh, that's fantastic. 2-2 to Reed, and it's 3-2. Well, Jeremy in a position to walk for the 4th time. Or maybe hit the home run.
Well, if he does walk, it's because they heard me talk about it at the bullpen, and they said, you know what, I'm going to make that prediction not true.
Pulls one down to first for Berkman. And Hervasio over to cover, 1 away. Giants are now at 27-3 in Kansas City.
Got any other scores?
What would you like to know?
I didn't even know the schedule today. The morning schedule, I forgot.
I've only been paying attention to the Giants and the Pats. Just, you know.
What's the Pats score then?
They're up 17-14.
Oh, they came back on them.
6 minutes to go in the 3rd still.
Baltimore's going to beat them, Ronnie. Sorry to say.
Pats are a little off their game. Brady's a little off their game. The offensive line has struggled a little bit so far.
Tolley with his 2nd straight good day at the plate, a single and a double, and he's driven in a run. He got that double in the 6th after a head-high fastball sent him sprawling. One and one to Josh with Anderson Hernandez on deck.
Oh, please. Come on. It's cartoonish.
How do you say claw in Spanish?
I don't know.
We'll have to find out.
I know how to say it in Chinese.
You do?
Don't do it.
There's a strike 2-2 to Tolley. Oh, that was your Get Smart reference.
No, that was Maxwell Smart that knew how to say it, right?
I have the entire
Maxwell Smart,
all the Get Smart episodes on DVD. I'll have to go back and find that episode.
You should bring those on the plane.
My favorite was Siegfried, though. My favorite villain was Siegfried.
Chaos?
Yes. He only came in the 2nd season. He wasn't in the 1st season.
3-2 to Tolley, and he pulls one into right field for a base hit. So Tolley has his 3rd hit of the day. Well, Josh will finish the season with 5 hits in his last 6 at-bats.
Wonderful.
What's that bring him to, about 333 or so?
The Mets only need one more batter to get on base for Mr. Pagan.
Yes, love to see it.
Tolley now hitting 321. That's a nice way to finish your first taste in the big leagues. Here's Hernandez, who's 0 for 3. Well, remember, Nelson Figueroa is on deck because he's going to be going for the complete game. So it's really up to Hernandez here to get himself on base to give Pagan a chance.
Well, you know what's great for Josh Tolley is when he goes home and his homeboys are taking him out and go, hey, what did you hit over the course of September? Struggled a little. 321. 3 hits in my last game.
Skunk.
Pepe Le Pew. One and one to Hernandez. They go to the 9th in Detroit. Tigers 5, White Sox 3.
Pavano only gave up a run in that 4th, so now back to Minnesota in the bottom.
Dwayne Wise, Mark Kotsay, Alex Rios due up to the White Sox. 1-2 to Hernandez.
Well, I don't know how many years he has left. Big man tried to make that play there down the first base line, ended up in the field. I don't know how many years Kotsay has left, but he is a nice kind of role player for your team. Pro's pro.
Dwayne Wise has already had his highlight moment for his career this season.
That's right.
Made the catch to preserve Mark Burley's perfect game. Here's the 1-2, and Hernandez stays in the at bat.
Well, Chicago has finished strong after Ozzie Guillen chewed them out like you've never heard chewing out late in the season.
It was last weekend when he was talking about going to the clubhouse and watching college football. And you're right, they have really made a great accounting of themselves the last week. On 1-2, Hernandez takes inside. Got the Bengals and the Browns tied at 14 going to the 4th quarter. Does that help you out?
That's a real barn burner. Poor Browns.
To Matsui, out at second, safe at first, so the inning keeps going. Tolley erased on the 4-6 fielder's choice, and now it's up to Figueroa to get on base to give Pagan another chance for the cycle. Nelson gets a nice hand. And deservedly so for a guy who is a true people's hero here at Citi Field.
Really is.
That was very nice.
Yep.
Brooklyn kid, grew up in Coney Island, has had a well-traveled career, but has made his home back in New York. Boone with a nice stab gets the force play to end the inning. So Pagan, unless the Astros have a big rally in them, will not get a chance for the cycle. They'll settle for 4 for 4 on the final day. for Nelson Figueroa. He went 0-5 despite pitching well. And now here he is on the final day of the season, having taken things into his own hands, working on a 3-hit shutout, going to the 9th inning, trying for his first major league complete game.
Well, I assure you, no one on that field is nervous except one person here, Nelson Figueroa, trying to close this out.
Michael Bourne, it's a comebacker, and on one pitch, Figueroa has the first out.
Nicely done.
And Nelson is now retired 11 in a row.
By the way, we were talking about how Mr. Tolley is going to go to Caracas to work on his catching. This will be his second caught shutout in this last week.
Caught the shutout performance by Pat Mish in Florida. Now Miguel Tejada with a little drama of his own. His last chance at a 200th hit this season. He had a double back in the 4th inning, hit number 199, trying to get to 200 hits for the 4th time in his career. The Mets have had just 2 complete games this season. One by Livan Hernandez, and the other the shutout by Pat Mish. Lance Berkman on deck. It's a final in Detroit. The Tigers have beaten the White Sox 5-3. Alex Rios hit into a double play against Fernando Rodney to end it. And so the Tigers have put their mark on the board. Now it's up to the Twins. Lifted to right center field. Shading his eyes is Reed, and he staggers but makes the catch. Well, Tejada almost had his 200th hit in a dangerous way, but Reed somehow was able to stay with it.
Boy, it's a murderous sun field, isn't it? Here in October. Oh, boy.
And so the season is down to its final out. Lance Berkman takes ball 1. Berkman 0 for 3 today. One and one. $38,135 on hand for the final day, and Berkman keeps it going with a 2-out hit. After Figueroa had retired 12 in a row, Berkman has just the 4th hit for the Astros this afternoon. And so Carlos Lee. Sometimes that 27th out is the hardest.
Yes.
For number 27. In the air to left field. Pagan is there. And at the end of a lost season, a happy bedtime story. Nelson Figueroa with his first major league complete game and shut out a 4-hitter as the Mets finish a very difficult year with a sweep of the